And when that happened, I could not have imagined that we would be talking about the Chiefs going to 3 straight Super Bowls, and then that year after the 3rd straight Super Bowl, will they even make the playoffs? And we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. We're hanging out at No Other Pub. We hang out with Kendall Gammon coming up next. All right, folks out there, you know that touchdowns, scores, everything about a football game, and Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. You can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. I hope if you're in Missouri, you took advantage of that DraftKings no-brainer boost, that if there was a point scored, a yard, you got $50, up to $50 bet. They were going to double it. Put $50 on it, boom, 100. Have you already signed up for the Sunday no-brainer boost? That any yard gained in the Chiefs and Texans game, up to $50 is boosted to plus 100. They're giving you another $50 on Sunday. And right now, new Missouri customers can also bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code 810WHB. New Missouri customers bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code 810WHB. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
He has a different view of the world. Maybe because he spent 15 years looking at it upside down. He knows exactly how many times the ball will rotate on a long snap, and he'll juggle anything you throw at him. It's Kendall Gammon in the Zone. Brought to you by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference.
All right, we're hanging out here at No Other Pub. It is the Power and Light District, KC Live, as the World Cup draw. The draw at KC Live is going on today. Doors open to the living room, the event taking place, the music going, the party happening. 11 o'clock is when the broadcast starts to see which group Team USA will be in. And Group J, 3 of the 4 teams, 3 of the 4 nations in Group J will play at least a game here in Kansas City, and the winner of Group K will be playing in Kansas City in the knockout round. So a couple of things to look at when those draws are coming out that we'll take a listen to. And again, U.S. is in Group D, and so we'll be obviously listening in for that as well. Right now, let's talk some Chiefs football, the other type of football, with Kendall Gammon, the world's greatest long snapper, joining us here in the zone. Kendall, what is up, brother?
You know what? I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing fine. This is such a historic and momentous day. I don't know if you heard when I gave the timing of it out in the previous segment, but it is surprising and I guess illuminating to a degree, enlightening that when KC was announced as winning a bid to be one of the host cities of the 2026 World Cup, that was June 16th of 22. That was the most recent Chiefs game they played, was the AFC Championship game lost to the Bengals. Like, that was such a huge day, and it's been that long building up to it. And all we've seen is the Chiefs go to 3 straight Super Bowls. The Royals make a playoff and win a playoff series in the wild card. I can't believe it's been that long, but what a fantastic day here for Kansas City. And those of us that have grown up here and those of us who have decided to put roots down, like yourself and your family, it's obviously a huge day here on the football side of the world.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When I was listening to you all talk about that, and I couldn't believe it as well, and then I started getting shakes because I was at that Cincinnati Bengals AFC Championship game, so I've gotten over that to be able to get on the phone with you. But, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, soccer capital of the U.S., and, I mean, Kathy Nelson and everybody here in KC and the job they did to bring something like this to KC, you just can't say enough good things about it. It's phenomenal.
Yep. And then I ended that by saying I didn't also think that if we were talking about the Chiefs going to 3 straight Super Bowls, we'd be discussing the very next year of if they make the playoffs. But that is reality for this team. Kendall, they lose on Thanksgiving, and I thought they would end up finding a way to win. They did not. They've lost 3 of 4. Is there, I know that this is a team that's got that championship pedigree, but if we look at this Chiefs team and we see, what they've done and this year and losing 3 of 4, if you say they have experienced a win since October 27th, one time since October 27th, does that weigh on, because there's a bye week and you've lost 3 of 4, does that weigh on you to where you start to even forget what it was like to sort of do the thing to win when you've been so used to it for so long?
Well, you're certainly aware of it in the locker room, and certainly nobody had that on their bingo card. So it is egregious and hard to believe, and it does get frustrating. I always talk about my years in New Orleans as my character-building years, and it definitely builds some character when you haven't won for a while. And then it's more frustrating, I think, when you know how close you've been throughout the year, and obviously – it's just like I was talking about the other day. Okay, so 3.5 favorites, how that happens, I don't know. But it's going to be a close game. It's like, well, if it's going to be a close game, then we lose. I mean, that's what comes to mind because that's how it's been this year.
Yeah, and that's been unfortunate, and that's sort of my view. Is it's been almost 4 straight games where the Chiefs have been favored by 3.5 points. 3.5 Denver,
yeah.
3.5 point favorites. Colts 3.5 point favorites. Cowboys 3.5 point favorites. Texans 3.5 point favorites. All right, can we find something new here? Because that doesn't seem to be going in the Chiefs' favor. Because even the one win, they were down 11, which isn't the ideal way of going about it.
Could I galaxy brain something for you, Kendall? Obviously, you are an offensive lineman at one point as well. So you might have a better insight on this. So I'm trying to talk myself into why having backup offensive linemen is not the end of the world for KC. I think a lot of folks are saying it's done, it's over, Patrick is screwed. And I'm sitting here going, he was going to be screwed either way because Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter beat every offensive lineman, even if you are phenomenal. So this to me means they've now had a full week, an entire time to say, we know we have backups in. We know we can't even talk ourselves into them potentially holding up and winning one-on-one. So you will have a curated game plan with the backup offensive lineman in the game. And oh, by the way, I actually think that Jalen Moore and Wanye Morris are better run blockers. Pass pro? No, they are not. Run blocking? Yes. So I'm almost trying to talk myself into having backup offensive linemen, at least knowing this far ahead of schedule, they can try and curate a game plan with Andy and Matt Nagy that might not be as disastrous as some people think.
No, I think that's a fair statement, and is right. And the big thing you said is the fact that they really had the whole week to come up with things. So to understand what each other is thinking on different things, I'm sure there's been extra film sessions because you have calls. It may be the same call, maybe something as easy as just saying X or something, but that means a different thing on different plays. You just know, depending upon how the defense is lined up, what you're going to do. Whether it's the first team or these 3-second stringers that are in and whatever, first of all, you're always a play away, so you've got to be ready to go after it, and otherwise you wouldn't be on the team. But whether it's the first team or second team, you weren't going to have a lot of time to get the ball out, and you were going to have to deal with, potentially basically the best defense or one of the best defenses in the league. So I would agree with you on that. I mean, when it comes down to it, and I'm not putting the blame on the defense, but the defensive side of things of Kansas City has to come through and make a difference, and we all know what that is, which is getting pressure on the QB. And when we bring 5 or 6, because we've shown that we can't get pressure unless we do that, we've got to get to the QB quicker, get home to the QB quicker, then the QB can sit back there and find the open receiver, because there always is one if you have enough time.
Yeah, and hopefully, look, I think it's going to be one of those game plans, get the ball out, screen passes. The Texans sacked Daniel Jones only one time in the game last week, and there was a lot of moving the pocket, play action, quick passes, screens. I'm expecting that, or is that sort of what you're thinking? If this Chiefs team on Sunday, that's what we're going to be seeing: quick passes, screens, get the ball out of his hands, move the pocket, bootlegs, things like that.
Yeah, the one thing I've been saying is getting Patrick out of the pocket for sure. I'd say you moving. I don't think there's a QB in the league that throws better and more accurately on the run from any platform than Patrick. And then he's just a guy that sometimes with him in the offense, he will just put it on himself, and he understands the situation and goes after it. And I think having him is the one big thing, because there's been several years of the Chiefs, even Super Bowl years, where the offensive line wasn't incredible. They didn't give up a lot of sacks, and that was because Patrick has a sixth sense about him in general and can really fight his way out of situations that a lot of QBs cannot.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon, our guest, presented by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen. How do the Chiefs avoid a lull in the middle of the game? They have had that a number of times this year, and certainly in this stretch, and in a number of these losses, that they've had a stretch of where it's been 3 or 4 consecutive possessions where they 3 and out or a turnover or things like that, to where, they started fast. They ended like this. But in the second and third quarter, the Chiefs this year in their 6 losses are getting outscored by 39 points. How do you avoid, is it something you can focus on in practice that, hey, we've this is the opening script, but after that opening script and maybe another drive, the Chiefs have really struggled offensively and other teams have taken control of the game, which has made it that much more difficult for the Chiefs to win these close games because they're chasing in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think some of that, Jason, has to do with making sure that you don't have the drops where you get those 3 and outs, because that's what I was going to say at first glance when you talked about it, which was you just can't have the 3 and outs. I don't know that you can actually practice to not have a lull, but as you mentioned, you have a script of 10, 15, sometimes 20 plays, and they don't get through all of them. But I would say this: once you get into the 8, 9, 10 plays, all the offensive side of the ball are watching different things of the defense to know how they're going to play that day. And what it comes down to is, can you adjust on the run? Not just at halftime, but can you adjust once you figure out really what they're hanging their hat on defensively? And if that's the case, because I think that'll be the best thing to create or to take away the lulls, is to have play calling quickly that's deciphered what's going on defensively. And that's no easy task ever, but especially against this defense.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon, I wanted to get your thoughts on something that Steve Spagnuolo said yesterday. He said, when they were talking about sort of the energy ramped up, and Travis Kelce on his podcast talked about, just the weekend off and then getting back to it. And he was saying the feeling the cold out at practice was like, okay, yeah, let's go play. Trent McDuffie was saying, yeah, there's an extra feel of energy in the building. And it's like, okay, well, they kind of said that before the Colts game, that it felt like a playoff game and all of that stuff. They ended up winning, but it wasn't exactly a beautiful way of going about it. But Steve Spagnuolo said something yesterday in his press conference, and he said it was the best no-helmet practice we've had in 7 years. And I'm curious from your perspective, what makes a good no-helmet practice, and what would make a no-helmet practice stand out to the way that Steve Spagnuolo said that's the best no-helmet practice, and I told the guys that we've had in 7 years?
Probably, first and foremost, you probably had very few mental errors, and then you had good hustle to the ball, both offensively and defensively, as we're discussing right now. And that's one big thing. I mean, with the rules the way they are in the NFL, I think you only get 14 padded practices. So there's 3 weeks at the very minimum that you're not going to have padded practices. So you have to learn how to practice well without being full go, and especially even with helmets off. So I think the big thing is mentally they're getting everything, and then there's an energy to the practice. People are still up, and you can tell that it's not quiet, and everybody isn't having a funeral for everything that's going on.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon. Kendall, your thoughts on what could be, at least from Andy Reid's perspective, we'll hear from Andy Reid today in a Fast Friday, but he said Wanya Morris is playing left tackle and Jalen Moore would play right tackle if Jawan Taylor didn't play. Josh Simmons, we know, isn't playing. It seems to be the consensus is a head-scratcher there. You've seen these guys play. Do you have a theory or reason or anything that you can come up with as to why that may make sense when most everybody and former offensive linemen have said it doesn't really make sense? I'm just curious your thoughts on Wanya at the left side and Jalen Moore on the right side.
Yeah, I've heard you guys talk about it, and it was good banter and well thought out. I think those two schools of thoughts each have their positives and negatives. I tend to err on the side of if there's going to be pressure from one side or the other, I want Patrick to be able to see it. So I would think you'd want to be your worst on the right side of it. But then I go right back onto the fence and say, but in the past we've seen how Patrick has a sixth sense about what's coming to the back of him as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it's 6 and half a dozen and chicken or the egg, all the different things that we come up with. Either way, it's not a good situation when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Kendall, do you last couple for you? Do you think this team makes the playoffs? Do they have it in them to go minimum 4-1 and preferably 5-0?
I hope so. I think they have the ability, but if I were betting, I wouldn't bet on that. I just think for what we've seen, the sample size is so big that they are what they say they are or show they are so far. But unless something just jumps into them, it's hard to think that would happen.
Yeah, and it would be certainly unfortunate if that was the case. I mean, there certainly could be some positives to come from that if that were to be the case, but obviously not preferable. What do you think happens on Sunday night, Kendall? Do you have a feel and maybe a score in mind?
Yeah, I do. I think the under is 41.5 or so, and I've got it at 21-20 Chiefs. I think it could go either way. I think, thank goodness, the game is at Arrowhead. If it were down at Houston, I just think there wouldn't be a chance, considering how the Chiefs have been. So that's how I see it going, but they've got to do a lot of things right, and it's a tall task, no doubt about it.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. You going to be out there on Sunday night with the Legends game and Bill Moss going into the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be at that ceremony with things, and then I'm actually going to be with the Salvation Army ringing a bell as people come in the stadium. Nice. So, if you come by me, humor me a little bit. Myself and Neil Smith will be at one gate, so come say hello. You'll know who he is. Just realize I'm the other guy. And
dude, you're a badass, Kendall.
You know what you should do, Kendall?
You got to allow me to say one thing also, which is December 1st. My son and daughter-in-law had Andrew Brian Gammon at Advent Health. So I am now a grandpa to a beautiful, wonderful baby boy, Drew Gammon.
That is amazing, man. Congratulations on that. That's got to be one of the best feelings in the world, right, Kendall?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, the minute I walked in and saw my son Blaze holding him, I just started crying. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I thought it was odd when the nurse long snapped the baby to your son.
You know what? It is what it is. You fight the elements, you deal with it. Fight, battle, compete.
Grandpa Gammon.
There you go.
It has a nice ring to it.
Do you have a name that you want Drew to call you?
Yeah, exactly. And Sterling just said it. Grandpa Gammon.
Grandpa Gammon. Okay. I didn't know if it was going to be like Poppy or Papa or Pops.
Well, Pops is on the mother's side. Brian, who I'm getting ready to go, the other grandpa,
Okay.
getting ready to go have lunch with now. He's going by Pops, I believe. So, quite honestly, throughout my career of 15 years, I've been called so many different things that it really just doesn't matter.
Unbelievable. Kendall, congratulations. That is absolutely amazing, man. So happy for you and your family. And 4-day-old and 4 days of being a grandpa, Kendall Gammon. Thank you so much. Enjoy the time, obviously, with the grandson, and enjoy Sunday night. And I would say it'd be funny if you wore the Band-Aid over your nose next to Neil Smith. Then people would be confused. They wouldn't know who's who.
Right.
Yes. Thank you, Kendall. Have fun, man. Congratulations again.
You bet, folks. Guys, take care. Bye.
Absolutely. There's Kendall Gammon. That is awesome, man. I did not know about that. I'm so glad that he told us that Andrew Brian Gammon, born December 1st, a new baby boy, and Grandpa Gammon.
That's
Grandpa.
awesome.
Grandpa,
Very cool.
You know,
Gigi.
You can go by, Gigi. Although my wife's grandmother was Gigi.
Most grandmas I feel like are Gigi's.
Yeah. So my dad was Papa Tom to my nieces and nephews, and I guess for about 7 days my son. He doesn't remember.
Here's Southern Indiana. Here's this for you: Mama and Papa.
Nanny and Poppy are
Papa
the
and Mama.
Yeah.
That's when you know you got a little.
Yes, Kaylin's side is Nanny and Poppy, and then my brother, with being a grandpa, he goes by Pops.
That's cool. See, Pops is cool. Pops is.
I like Pops.
That's a hip grandpa.
What's up, Pops? There you go. We will take a timeout. We are hanging out at No Other Pub. It is the World Cup draw at KC Live going on today at Power and Light District, and we find out all of the different groups, who's going to be going where, which teams potentially could be heading to Kansas City to play. We find out some of those games and matches and things like that tomorrow. But today, that celebration with Kansas City being a host city, June 16th of 2022, when that was announced. And now we are at December 5th of 2025 when we get to have this announcement of the group stages and have a decent idea of who's going to be coming to Kansas City, and that'll happen tomorrow as well. And then later on in the spring, we'll know which countries will set up shop here in Kansas City. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Lee Sterling, Todd Lebo next.
World Cup is coming up, but what's happening now is FanDuel live and ready to roll in the Show Me State. They are celebrating with a little something special for everyone all this week. Every customer gets a no-sweat bet every single day. That's right. No matter what you're betting on, if it does not hit, you get bonus bets back to keep the action going. We are live right here in Missouri right now. I just threw something in. I threw a no-sweat bet down. I am taking the over on the Gonzaga and Kentucky game. Two teams that can score. I know it's a lot of points, but you know what? Life's too short to bet the under. Sorry, I don't feel like trying to root for teams to miss shots. So I'm going to have fun. I went the over on that. You can fade me if you want to. I have struggled at times, but there's also great super bets, super bonuses. All that is right there on FanDuel. The interface is quick, the payouts are fast, and the experience is top tier. So what are you waiting for? Make sure you download FanDuel or visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. Again, FanDuel.com/Missouri.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required each day. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $20. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. who's going to win and by how much. You're about to find out from national sports handicapping champion Lee Sterling on The Zone. Log on to ParamountSports.com or call toll-free 800-400-9741 to get started.
Welcome back into a Red Friday here on The Zone on Sports Radio 810 WHP. Huge game with the Chiefs and Texans coming up for a lot of reasons, playoff implications, all that stuff. But Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports joins us. And for me, Lee, it's the first time I'm going to be covering a National Football League game in the state of Missouri where I can bet on NFL action while I'm out there waiting for the Chiefs game to start. It's very exciting. We finally made it to December 1st, 2025. Missourians can bet from their homes. It's really fun stuff.
It's great. I'm happy for everyone. One bit of warning: don't chase. So my daughter, I'll never forget this. The other day, it was last week. So he went to Penn State. So he was down here for Thanksgiving, and we're at an event. And he's like, "What do you think of this bet before the game with Penn State?" I'm like, I don't really have a feel on the game. So he bets the game Penn State, and then as the game was going on, he started chasing. And I think he bet him like 4 different times, lost all 5 bets. So don't chase. Best times sometimes. Some of your best bets are no bets or just taking the loss. It is great sometimes. If I really see a change in momentum and I think the team's going to lose, I will try to go against that team the other way one time, or a key injury to, let's say, to a quarterback. And I know something about the quarterback, either positive or negative, that the public really doesn't know. So those are some of the things that I do. But have fun with it. I mean, it's going to be great. You can go to a game. You can play player props. I mean, the younger kids love the player props. And, you can play games, like I said, all game long with the player props. And you can even play totals. That in-game betting, as you talked about to start this, that's what's going to make it fun. So everyone have fun with it, but bet responsibly.
Yeah, for sure. And you've got Double Down December going on. So what's the special here at Paramount?
So what it is it's normally $497 from today all the way through the end of the month, and I like it because I seem to do better than even November, and we had a great November and October. But the reason I do better is I feel that it slows down. For instance, college football playoffs, only 7 or 8 games, so I can watch 3 or 4 of the last games of each one of these teams and really study them. Same with the NFL. I don't have to watch 50 or 60 games. So you can get every single game college football championship week. You're going to get the first couple rounds of the college football playoffs from me, all the college bowls in December, and also the NFL for 4 weeks. And we're on a 37-17-1 run in the NFL the last 11 weeks. So you're going to get everything on our phone service from today through December 31st. Normally $497. I'm going to celebrate it for you. I'm going to give you a coupon for everyone who's listening to this segment. Use coupon code SAVE100, just $397 for my phone service through the end of the month. That way you can enjoy it, have some fun, hopefully make some money. Use coupon code SAVE100 for the Double Down December special on football. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
All right, let's get after some games. We've got a couple big college football games. We've got all these on the air for us on Sports Radio 810 WHP. We'll start with the Big Ten Championship. Ohio State, 4.5-point favorite against Indiana. Indiana's first chance to play in this game, and it's in Indiana. What do you think?
Yep, and it's indoors. If this was played outside like the game was last week, I would certainly go with Ohio State, but Fernando Mendoza's from Miami, so you saw the kid play in high school. It's indoors, and he is really good. 32 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions this year. He's averaging 9.4 yards per attempt. Take nothing away from Ohio State, but last week was their game, beating Michigan and ending that 4-game losing streak here. They could lose this game and still be 2 or 3 in the college football playoffs. So I think Indiana was using 2 weeks to game plan for this game. I think Ohio State escapes 27-24, but give me the points here in Indiana. Wouldn't shock me if they win the game outright.
How about Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game? They're 12-1. BYU has a lot on the line, but they're kind of overmatched in this game. They've already played once this year.
They are, and here's the thing, though. I do think that even though the game's being played in Arlington and Jerry's World, I think the team that loses the first game can make adjustments. And in the first game, Texas Tech dominated. Their defense was stifling. They're top 10 in almost every major statistical category. But That score could have been 40-0. They dominated BYU that much, but BYU is still a very good team. They won 11 games. It just wasn't their day. Everything they tried, every bounce went against them. I think they're going to adjust here and make some changes here and be able to keep it close. And another factor, head coach Kalani Sitake is staying on, and that is also a plus. If he was moving on, certainly would not play him, but knowing he's going to be with him next year and going forward, very, very big for these kids here. I think Texas Tech wins here 30-24, but BYU covers.
All right, let's talk a little NFL. The Bills are a little shaky, but they're 5.5-point favorites against the Bengals team. They got Joe Burrow back and won with the help of 5 turnovers on Thanksgiving against the Ravens.
Yep, so Buffalo looked great last week, but the week before, let's not forget, against Houston, that offensive line was dominated. Not that Cincinnati's great, but for some reason when Joe Burrow plays, the defense does seem to play better. So they're 4-8 overall. They're not out of it. I think they can make a run here. They're going to have both